Hey guys, we're very, very happy to have our guest today, the Monk of Mokha, Mukhtar Al-Khanshani. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did. And then most of the people who try to pronounce my last name don't know how to say it, and so I appreciate you saying it correctly.
It's hard for us Pakistanis to have that guttural noise, but I'm very, very, very happy to have you with us here today. We're here at ISNA, the Islamic Society of North America Conference. For those of you who aren't aware of Mukhtar, his work, communal activist, CEO of Port of Mokha. We have his coffee over here, which he has just made for me and him. Just gonna ask him a few questions, drink some coffee, explore your mind a little bit, explore your psyche. The name of the YouTube channel is Psychology Spirituality. So maybe the first thing we can ask is, here at ISNA, how do you connect with your spirituality? Amidst all the busyness of being a CEO, all of the hustle and bustle of life, how do you connect with that deeper spirituality and a connection with God?
Alhamdulillah, I think as Muslims, one of the things we're very lucky and blessed to have is the ability to feel connected to Allah through prayer. And so it's a very practical way to do it.
Yes.
And we have these 5 moments in time throughout the day where, as hectic as our lives get, whether you run a company or you have children at home or whatever it is, you go to school, being able to zone out and to center yourself and connect to the higher purpose, it helps a lot. People spend so much money going to meditation practices, and so I think for me, prayer is my escape. I'll never forget the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, used to tell Bilal, when you'd ask him to make adhan, the call of prayer, he would say, Arihna biha ya Bilal, which in Arabic means, Arihna is a way to kind of like grant us pleasure in this. Called to Allah for the prayer. So that's what I do, and it helps tremendously.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. You always keep that in your consciousness, God in the forefront of your consciousness. Maybe going forward from that, maybe you can tell our viewers a little bit about what the current situation is like in Yemen. For those of you who might not be aware, Mukhtar, all of this coffee is farm grown from farmers in Yemen, and as we know, Yemen, there's a famine crisis going on over there. Maybe you can fill our viewers in on what the situation is like.
It's a bittersweet reality. Unfortunately, alhamdulillah, these coffees are being brought to the world and showcased wonderfully in cafes, but it's a very horrible, harsh, and difficult reality in Yemen. Yeah. Yemen is currently facing the worst humanitarian crisis on the planet. 80% of the country is food insecure, and the numbers are just so makes one feel very concerned about the state of the world. One of the worst statistics I read was by a report by Oxfam that said around 85,000 children have died since this war began. And I tried my best to balance that with hope. This isn't charity. These farmers work really hard to produce these coffees, and I feel that it's a very sustainable way to make impact. And it's why I feel like I'm being brought to this earth to do this kind of work. And so for anyone listening out there, it's important for us, as a believer, to try to find ways to uplift people around the world who are oppressed and going through hardships. And you can do that financially. There are a lot of wonderful organizations that are doing work in Yemen, like Doctors Without Borders, MSF, Oxfam, International Rescue Committee, Pure Hands for Mankind, and so forth. So
we'll put all the links in the description also.
You really have to try to make it a habit to give something of your paycheck if you can to Yemen and to other people who are suffering. Others, if you live in a country with a parliament and you have representatives, write and call your elected officials. You are their constituents. They are there to serve your needs, and we can push policies that can help end this conflict, inshallah. And third, and I think probably most important, is فإذا لم تستطع فبقلبك وذلك أضعف الإيمان. It's hadith at the end. It says, if you can't change something with your hand or with your tongue, then with your heart. And so dua is one of the most powerful forms of expression that we have, and we should never belittle that. So even making a dua a moment can really have a huge ripple effect and affect many people.
And that's correlated in psychology also. The literature backs that up, prayer, which people tend to belittle, is actually really, really good for collective harmony and collective social support. So maybe we can kind of delve into the psyche of Muqtada a little bit.
I would tread lightly, brother. I don't know how deep you want to get in there, rabbit hole.
Full-scale therapy session right now, from Brooklyn to the Tenderloin to Yemen. You know, your story is famous. It's touched the heart of millions of people. Many of us can relate to it, trying to find identity, trying to find who we are, especially as young Muslims here in the West. What are some tidbits of your development, of the things that you've learned from your experiences that you can share for the many viewers watching?
What is this rated? I'm just kidding. No, alhamdulillah.
Beep.
It's hard trying to find your place as an immigrant, or the son or daughter of an immigrant. I was like, am I from Yemen? Am I American?
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't feel like you belong in either.
Yep.
But I think we belong to both beautifully. And a third, which is both of those together. I'm a Yemeni, I'm an American, and I'm a Yemeni American. And I think that we can, those things, those identities can coexist beautifully. I love my Yemeni culture. I love Yemeni food, Yemeni music. I love my religion. I love hip hop. I love, things here in the U.S. that I'm into pop culture. And so...
really quick, who's your top hip hop artist? Top three.
Top three. I grew up in, Brooklyn Stuyvesant, the livest one, represent BK to the fullest.
Okay,
Gatsby Fulton. Okay, I stopped there, but...
Yeah, throw Biggie in there.
Biggie Smalls is the illest for a reason. Also Tupac. I love, growing up, I liked hip hop with a message. Biggie was a great storyteller, talked about the life he lived and what was around his environment.
Yep.
Tupac had always a very powerful message, and I love both of those artists a lot. Currently, I don't know, it's hard these days, but Kendrick Lamar,
great rapper.
I think he's a great rapper.
Yep.
And, I go back and forth with that.
Sorry, that was totally a tangent.
These days I'm more into neo soul and Motown. But yeah.
All right, so starting your own company, Monk of Mokha, successful company. You guys have multiple branches all over the place. We have many young entrepreneurs who may be watching this. They look at success as just something that kind of manifests. I know I do sometimes. What's the daily grind like of running a business, of being a CEO, and what are some tidbits of knowledge you can drop on the viewers on maybe starting to create a small business and what they can do to propagate that?
I don't know if I'm successful. It's interesting how people use that word a lot. I define it differently than some people. I think success is what makes you happy and what fulfills you. And materially wise, we're okay. Inshallah, we can hopefully grow our company. But the way we try to measure our metric for that is how many lives we can affect. So really, you have to go and figure out what are you most passionate about. And I think the way I look at that is, what problem in the world, what issue do you feel that you want to change? And how can you create a product or service to help figure that out?
Okay.
And whatever that is, you need to become a master in that field.
Master of your domain. Yeah.
You need to read the books. You need to go to the conferences. You need to sign up for the webinars. You need to read and follow the thought leaders. And travel and do all that because you need to know that space and really become a master in that. And as you develop that, you start to figure your own path in that field. And early stage startups, it's hard to hustle. You're gonna have to wear many hats. And my advice is always try to have a clear vision and mission, and know what the difference between those two statements are.
Okay.
So a mission or vision rather. A vision is where do you see yourself in the future? What is this utopic kind of view of where would you like to be? If you had all the funds and resources and you were successful, what would that look like?
Okay.
And then the mission is the who, what, when, where, how you get to that.
The logistics.
And you have to have a timeline for things, otherwise it's just an empty wish. It's a great quote. If you don't have a timeline for things, then it's just an empty promise to yourself.
Yep.
So I always look at deliverables, timelines, and budgets, and really trying to build the transformer team. You can't do everything yourself, and so the hardest part is when you start something on your own, you make all these mistakes. It's fine. I always say fail fast. Move as quickly as you possible. Look at the data and see what's working. And as you grow, you need to bring on different people to help you scale your business, and different people who have different skill sets. You quickly learn. It's hard to let go of your baby at first, but once you find people who can do accounting more than you, better than you, or marketing better than you,
that's very important.
You know, فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. The ayah says in the Quran, ask the people of knowledge when you do not know. See, I love being in this Muslim conference because I never get to speak this openly about Islamic the way I do, because it's all about who your audience is.
Yeah.
And that's also very important in business. Who is your audience? And how do you create and develop products and services tailored to those audiences? And you'll be surprised. Like, you think, oh, I'm going to target a certain group of people, but if you don't do the time to build out, it's called your customer avatar.
Okay.
So, you know, figuring out how old is he or she, where they come, their social economic class, where do they live, what are their spending habits, these kinds of things. But I'm very happy to be in this conference because I get to, you know, use my religion, or really my religion is what helped develop my way of thinking in business.
Maybe we can touch a little bit on that. We have this wonderful pot of coffee right in front of us. Smells great. You know, I wish I can transfer that via the camera, but I guess you guys have to purchase it. We got the link right in the description. Can you speak a little bit, being a historian, on the fundamental importance of coffee in Islam and how that should, you know, that reveals a lot about our identity as Muslims?
I was actually very shocked when I found out the history of coffee in Islam. For those who don't know, there's actually a city called Mokha, a port city called Mokha in Yemen. And the first people to consume coffee were not, you know, bougie or pretentious people in these high-end coffee shops, but really Muslim scholars. They looked at coffee, they called it Zad al-Salihin, the drink of the, or sustenance of the righteous. And they believed Allah had brought this for us to reach higher states of consciousness. And I'm not the Monk of Mokha, for those who are watching. There's actually a man who lived in Yemen named Sheikh Ali ibn Umar al-Shadili, who in the 1400s wrote an incredible book about coffee. And I can talk a lot about the history of coffee, but I'll just end with these lines of poetry from his book titled Inas al-Safwa bi Anfas al-Qahwa, the people of self-purification, Safwa, and through the breaths of coffee. Yaqul rahimahullah, he says, Allah be pleased with him, O coffee, O story of love, قهوة البني يا أهل الغرام ساعدتني على طرد المنام. You helped me repel away my sleep. وعانتني بعون الله على طاعة الله والناس نيامي. And you helped me with Allah's help to worship Him while people fell asleep. لا تلوموني على شربي لها إنها شراب السادة الكرام. Don't blame me for my intense love for coffee. It is the drink of the righteous people. And I'll just let that sink in.
Thank you so much, Mukhtar. For those of you who want to get in touch with all of the fantastic things you have going on, are there any links that the viewers can go to?
I'll send them over, but I do want to end with just, you know, we all have gifts from God. And it's up to us to find out what those gifts are and how to manifest them into a life. And we'll go through difficulties in life. We'll go through hurdles, financial hurdles, social hurdles, family, spiritual hurdles, health hurdles. I ask Allah to ease all those hurdles for everyone, all of us. But really, faith is an incredible thing that can help us overcome these things. And we realize that our time in life is very limited. What are we supposed to do here? I used to ask myself these questions of, like, why am I here? What is my purpose? Is it just to, you know, make money and to raise status in this class? But, you know, if we really think and have these serious moments with ourselves and ask these difficult questions, we sometimes get caught up in, and we're afraid to be alone, so we're stuck in our phones or try to, you know, stimulus and anything, especially at night on our beds. We don't even want to go. We don't even want to think, close our eyes and sleep. We just want to fall asleep watching something on YouTube.
And we're drinking coffee too.
Yeah, but I think that if we do think about that, and you realize that our life is very finite, and we can go any moment. So think about what you want to do before you bounce out this hotel, before you check out, and let death be a constant reminder of how you want to live your life. Sorry, I know it's a bit morbid, but it's something that I thought it helps me shape the way I think, and I hope it helps you.
And, you know, the Muslim vibe, continue forming your Muslim identity. I'm very, very fortunate to be here at the largest Muslim gathering, connecting with people like Mukhtar. You know, this communal aspect of Islam, which is so beautiful. You know, talking to diverse people with diverse thoughts. And we thank you guys so much for viewing today's episode. Mukhtar, Port of Mokha, wonderful coffee, wonderful human being. Thank you so much for allowing us your time. Peace be upon all of you guys, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Honors all mine. Thanks, man.
Thank you so much, man.